I'm Matt Jaques with Victory First. Welcome to Trigger Time TV, brought to you by Raven Concealment Systems. And now we head back out to Shadow 6, where we talk about the art of the long gun.
Hey folks, Jim Gilliland here from Shadow 6. Now, I got my friends here. I got Ryan Hay, and I got Kirk Vollmer, and we're going to talk about data books for a little while. The data book we're going to talk about today is from 1MOA Solutions. It was a combined effort between 1MOA and John at Combat Swag. So they're on the market now, so you can look them up. All right. But guys, the reason why data books usually come so large is because there's a lot of extra paper in there, so you can use them for as long as you can. All right, you can refilm or whatever else. But what I normally do is I just pull out the cards that I need that are pertinent to me. All right, it makes it much smaller, much more compact. I can carry this around, and I always know I can go back to dig for more sheets if I need it. Okay. Now, one of the first sheets you're going to come into is your consolidated data card. Now, this card is the most important card of the entire book as far as I'm concerned. This is the compilation of everything else that we've written in here. All right, you've got all your ranges on here that you've shot to. You've got all your come-ups for each of those ranges. You've got whether it was a cold barrel shot, and what you can do is you can do the same distance and do a clean cold bore and do a fouled barrel shot, and that way you can keep track of them. You got what your mill holds are in case you want to hold over in mills. And then you got your leads left and right in case they're moving targets. And you got plenty of room for notes on both sides for that. If there was one card that I'm going to grab out of this book, it's going to be this one. All right. Now, how we get the information for this is all these other cards. Now, this one is a cold bore zero target data card. And generally, what I'll do is once I've shot my target, I go ahead and place it in here so I can see my actual group instead of drawing it in. A lot of guys like to draw them in. I like to put my real targets on there so I see. Of course, after you go past a certain distance, you're not going to be able to fit a 3x3 zero target in, right? So you're going to have to draw them in eventually. But what you're going to have to do is you start and fill out admin information. You do your location and range. You do what rifle and scope you're using. You do the ammunition you're using, all right? Because everybody knows we use more than one type of ammunition. And if I've got this card, I know what I need to dial to hit with that specific type of ammunition. Your temperature, your barometric pressure, your altitude and humidity, and density altitude can go onto these. All right, and one of the ways we can find that is you can get a Kestrel. Now, this one specific, it has applied ballistic software on it. All right, it's one of their very newest ones, and essentially this is a data book within itself. All right, I can build complete entries for rifles with it, and it tells me everything I need to know for the most part. However, it has batteries. This doesn't. This will always be there. This will always be secure. This may die, so I may always need a backup. This is our backup, all right? We put our light direction and our wind direction, right? And that tells us everything we know about this shot. Now, these other cards are essentially the same type cards. They just have different type targets on them. This is stationary target. You can do this at any range. Now, whatever the range is, you can use this target, whether it's an Iron Maiden or something like that, right? Special data target. This is basically a target that you have that is different from everything else. It's a special shape, it's a special this, it's whatever, but you can draw whatever you have in on this, right? And again, it's filled out the same way. Group gathering, you put your groups in where you're shooting, and so you know exactly where you're at during your bullseye stuff. Moving target profile, it's filled out the same way with the exception of what your leads are for a left to right target or a right to left target. All right, they changed each distance, and you can mark your hits on these targets that they have here. And again, we have unknown distance. Now, towards the back of the book on most data books is where the real information comes into, right? All of these supplementary cards, it's not something you really write in on, but this is where all your extra information is. You have your range estimation. You can flip them over. They have how to count mil dots and how to actually do your mil ratio formula. They have all your standard tables. They can convert wind formulas. They can convert mils to meters. They can convert all this other stuff, right? So a lot of them have hold-off charts. You know, all your extra information is right here. So in saying that, do you guys have any specific questions real quick for me?
If you were to take this data book for two identical rifles. I mean, how close would it be from one to the other? I mean, or should you have?
Well, you should always have
books?
right. You should always have one data book for one rifle, understanding that they're going to be close. But if you send that rifle with somebody else, or if you sell that rifle or hand it off to somebody, if you're in law enforcement, military, you need to push that data book with it, and that way it always stays the same. Okay, so keep that in mind next time you're filling out your data book, so you know more about what you're doing. All right. And you guys at home, if you've got a data book, go ahead and start filling it out, because that's really where all the information your shooting world takes. Years and years of information will be collected in these, and to make you a better shooter. All right? Use that and hunt the wolf to protect the flock.
Trigger Time TV is brought to you by Raven Concealment System, Troy Industries, Troy Defense, Sword USA, US Optics, Mayflower Tactical, Arbros, Keltec, Dark Angel, Black Hills Ammunition, Yeti, Aimpoint, Wiley X, and Wilson Combat.